The morning I got married, I stood in front of a chapel mirror wearing my wedding dress and kept staring at the empty doorway. Every minute that passed, I expected my parents to walk in. They never did. Instead, my younger sister posted smiling selfies from her extravagant baby celebration across town. That was the moment I realized I had never been the daughter they truly cared about. I'm Emma Carter, and what happened over the next 72 hours destroyed my family's reputation, uncovered a dangerous financial secret, and changed my life forever. Growing up in Charleston, South Carolina, my parents treated my sister, Lily, like the center of the universe. She received every compliment, every expensive gift, and every second chance. I learned something very different. If I wanted a future, I would have to build it completely on my own. But I never imagined my wedding day would become the day they lost everything. While Lily enjoyed luxury vacations, designer clothes, and endless support from our parents, I worked every chance I got. I balanced college classes with late-night shifts, saved every paycheck, and slowly built a career in property management. That's when I met Ethan Brooks. He wasn't flashy. He drove an old pickup truck, wore worn-out work boots, and spent most of his days restoring historic buildings along the South Carolina coast. My parents judged him the second they saw him. My mother whispered that I could do better. My sister laughed and called him just another construction guy. Ethan only smiled. He never argued, because the truth about his life was something he never felt the need to prove. And that secret would soon leave my entire family in complete shock. A few months later, Ethan asked me to marry him. We planned a beautiful but simple wedding at a historic garden chapel in Savannah, Georgia. For the first time in years, I believed my family might finally put their differences aside. My father promised he would walk me down the aisle. My mother said she would help welcome our guests. Then everything changed. Just 5 weeks before the wedding, Lily announced she was expecting her first baby. Overnight, my wedding became unimportant. My parents canceled every promise they had made to me and focused only on throwing Lily the most luxurious baby celebration anyone had ever seen. Then I discovered something that broke my heart. They had scheduled her party on the exact same day and at nearly the same time as my wedding. When I confronted them, their response left me speechless. I called my mother, hoping it was all just a misunderstanding. Instead, she laughed. "Emma," she said, "your sister is about to give us our first grandchild. That celebration comes first." I reminded her that our wedding venue had been booked for almost a year. Guests had already flown in from different states. Nothing could be changed. Her answer was cold. If you really cared about this family, you'd postpone your wedding. The night before the ceremony, not one person from my side of the family called to check on me. Then, just 30 minutes before I was supposed to walk down the aisle, my phone buzzed. It was a message from my father. "We won't be there. Celebrate without us." I stared at the screen, and for a few seconds, it felt like my whole world had collapsed. But someone else quietly stepped forward and changed everything. As tears filled my eyes, the chapel door slowly opened. Ethan walked in, gently took my hands, and looked straight into my eyes. "You are not standing alone today," he whispered. A few moments later, his father offered to walk me down the aisle. The ceremony was beautiful. There was laughter, happy tears, and a room full of people who truly wanted us there. For the first time in my life, I understood something powerful. Real family isn't always the one you're born into. Sometimes it's the one that chooses to stand beside you. The next morning, Ethan surprised me with a honeymoon I never saw coming. A private helicopter lifted us over the South Carolina coastline, toward a breathtaking island that looked like something from a dream. I smiled for a photo, never imagining that one single picture was about to destroy every lie my family had been living. The island was breathtaking. Crystal blue water, white sand beaches, and a historic oceanfront estate that felt completely untouched by the outside world. While we enjoyed breakfast on a private terrace, I snapped a simple photo of the sunrise. Ethan smiled beside me, his wedding ring catching the morning light. Without thinking, I posted it with one short caption: "A new beginning with the love of my life." About an hour later, I picked up my phone. It wouldn't stop vibrating. More than 400 missed calls. Hundreds of desperate text messages. My parents, my sister, even relatives who hadn't spoken to me in years. One message from my mother stood out. "Emma, please answer. We need to talk. Right now." I looked at Ethan in confusion. He already knew exactly why they were calling. Because the truth they had just discovered would change everything. Ethan took a slow breath and handed me his phone. "Search my last name," he said quietly. Within seconds, my screen filled with headlines. I froze. The man everyone had mocked for driving an old pickup wasn't struggling at all. He was the private owner of one of the largest historic property companies on the East Coast. Then another truth hit even harder. My brother-in-law had secretly borrowed millions to keep his failing business alive. The loan had recently been purchased by Ethan's company. If the debt wasn't paid, the law allowed the company to seize the collateral, including my parents' home. That's why they were suddenly begging. Not because they missed me, but because for the first time, they needed me. When my father's call came through, I finally answered.